Okay, now the slides I'm about to go through are all abstracts from your 6P. These are not doctored or special slides. Your MSA I've already covered 1 to 6. So technically in your ESE, I should be concentrating on 7 to 13. But there will always be some elements of 1 to 6, but at the minimum, I wouldn't say minimum, there is some levels of 1 to 6. Okay, but mainly you can expect questions to come from 7 to 13. Alright, so for P1 to 6, if there are important items, I'll be covering in this workshop here. Alright, so P1. Okay, here we go. Now, shell model. By now, you should know or still remember what shell model is. Basic elements of the hardware environment, liveware, and software. Okay, you must always know that there is always a liveware involved in the middle. At no instance, the hardware will be interacting with the environment or software alone. Okay, there must be a liveware involved in order for the shell model to work. Okay, so that's the key point. 30 dozen, unfortunately, we will have to sort of at least know what they are all about. Okay, again, in your ESE, there will be like scenario-based kind of questioning whereby you need to identify the 30 dozen that is involved in that scenario. Okay, so all these 30 dozen, you have to know all of them, not word for word, but the meaning of what each 30 dozen means. Okay. Now, come to problem 3, light and sight. Okay. It's good to know how your eyeball works. The main components in there is the lens, the retina, the optical nerve, okay, cone and rods. Okay, so basically these are the main items that make up your eyeball that gives you the ability to see things. Alright, so I repeat, lens, retina, cone and rods, optical nerves. Okay, know what their functions are and how do they enable us to see stuff. Okay, 2 different sources, artificial versus natural. You should be able to name some of them by now, I hope. And yeah, this one is particularly important. Okay, the wavelength, you got the shorter wavelength versus the longer wavelength. Always remember that the shorter wavelength tends towards the blue in color. The longer wavelength tends towards the red. The spectrum is between 700 to 400 nanometers. If anything falls out of it, yeah, you guys know the answer, yeah? Okay, so awesome. Facility versus class lighting. Okay, very simple. What we are having here now is facility lighting, right? Okay, general lighting. If you have to go into real tight or dark places, then you might need class lighting. Know the difference between the 2 of them, please. Okay, here we go. 6. That's fast. Okay, exams always like to ask symptoms. Okay, if you're suffering from something, please tell me the symptoms. Okay, so if you are under stress, okay, some of the symptoms that the individual will actually display. Okay, these are some of them. What you need to do is to at least name 3. Okay, overall, when the exam asks for stuff, usually it's 3 to 4 examples. If you can remember, that's good enough. Okay, we don't expect you to remember 200 examples of symptoms. Okay, so 3 to 4 of them will be good enough. General adaptation syndrome. This one, in the previous MSA, when I asked for the stress response curve, a lot of guys and girls actually gave me this instead. This is not the stress response curve. This is the general adaptation syndrome. So do know the difference between the 2. Okay, so for this general adaptation syndrome, stage 1, 2, and 3, please know what each stage, okay, will actually, what it's all about. Okay, stage 1 is about alarm, stage 2, okay, you are experiencing some resistance. By the time you hit stage 3, you are in your exhaustion stage, where everything just breaks down. Okay, note the 3 different stages, please. Okay, now, responses to stress, the 2 difference. Okay, there is defense versus coping. You must understand and know which one is better, and hopefully you will be able to explain that as well. Alright, so the 2 responses to stress. Anyway, there's only 2 of them. Alright. 7. Am I going too fast? Okay, if I'm going too fast, please stop me if you have any questions in between. Alright, don't be shy. This is your exam, your grades. Okay, so you take care of your life. Okay, sleep disorders. Okay, these are the 4 sleep disorders that is contained in your 6P. You have to know them. Okay, if I know some of the teams that I work with always rely on Dr. Google for all the answers. Okay, in this case, if you have more than these sleep disorders, they do not count. For the sake of the exam purposes, I only want to see what's in the 6P. Okay, because there's too much thing under the sun. So I only know 4 of them. I've got very limited IQ. Alright, so insomnia, snoring, sleep apnea, and the last one is sleepwalking. Okay? Again, in the exam, if you have difficulty spelling the word, try to at least go close to it. Okay? If I have difficulty trying to understand what you're trying to spell or write, I might go pretty way off. Okay? So I know sometimes spelling you can miss 1 or 2 letters here and there. As long as I can make up the word, okay, I'll give you the mark. Okay, but if it's too far away, don't give me 10 X's and ask me to guess what you're trying to write. Okay, so okay, sleep disorder. Know what they are and how to describe them. Sleep debt. By now, this one should be pretty close to all your hearts. Okay, I asked all my lecturers to teach you how to calculate sleep debt. Most of my students do occur some debts here and there. So, do know how to calculate sleep debt. Okay, anybody needs a run through how to calculate sleep debt? Oh, okay, I got 1 hand. Only 1. 2. Okay, never mind. I'll just do it for the benefit of clearing any doubts. Okay, sleep debt itself. Normally, as a teenager, how many hours of sleep do we need? About 8-ish. Okay, let's say for example 8. Okay, and if you happen to be on your games last night, and then you got too engrossed, in the end you only manage 3 hours of sleep, and then you come to school. Okay, how much sleep debt have you incurred? Okay, 8 minus 3, so that's 5. Okay, everybody clear? Okay, as simple as that. Okay, the number of hours you need minus away the number of hours you got. Okay, so that equals to the number of hours you owe. Okay, so that's sleep debt. Anybody still not clear at this point in time? No, Okay, the important thing about sleep debt is you have, even if you sleep another 10 hours today, okay, if you owe 5 hours of sleep debt, if you go home now and you sleep 10 hours more than what you need, you can only repay back 2 hours of sleep debt. Which means the next day you have to sleep another more hours. Let's say if you sleep for another 3 hours, but you still owe 2. Okay, each day you can only clear 2 hours of sleep debt. Does it make sense at all? Anybody needs clarification on this 2 hours, how you clear? Yes, no, no. Once, twice, 3 times, they're gone. Okay, a lot of chattering. Are you all clear on how to clear off the sleep debt? You are only able to clear 2 hours of your debt per day. Is it clear? Yes. I hear some. Yes. Okay, I'll go. Okay, bye-bye. This page is gone. Okay, the next thing is how to sleep well. Okay, factors that is required, okay, conditions that is required for you to have a good night's sleep. Okay, so these are some of the ways that we can ensure a good night's rest. Okay, 8 out of the norm. I believe this one is on the shift work. Okay, right now for ESE, at least you must know some advantages versus some of the disadvantages of shift work. Okay, the common ones are you can avoid the peak hour traffic. Disadvantages, of course, you get no life. Okay, your social life might be affected. Okay, so yeah, know some of the advantages versus disadvantages of shift work. Okay, so now if you need to perform shift work, so chances are you will feel pretty sleepy at night because of your circadian rhythm is being affected, the human clock, the human cycle. So if that happens, you must know some of the ways, okay, in order to improve your alertness when you do shift work at night. And these are the ways that is actually stated inside your 6P. So do have a good read, okay, on how to improve your alertness. Okay, again, the next slide is also, okay, block out light, having caffeine and a short nap. Okay, ways to improve alertness during night shift. Okay, P9. This one is amongst all the problems, I think P9 is one of the ones that is more difficult to understand. But if we were to break it down to its basics, okay, it's all boils down to this slide, the 3 levels of situation awareness. Okay, what are the 3 levels? Okay, how I teach my class, the first level is only the perception of the elements. What do I mean? Okay, this is only to take in, okay, things that are happening around you, okay, sight, smell, touch, feel, okay, taking in all this information around you. Okay, so that's level 1. Only when you reach level 2, comprehension, when you start to put things together, okay, steps, steep, danger, okay, you might trip and fall, roll down the stairs, okay, these are comprehension. You put what you observe in level 1 together, put it into level 2, jumble them together, and you start to think. Okay, that's comprehension. Okay, level 3 is projection of the future state. Okay, predicting what might happen in the future. If you happen to have a proper, correct prediction and you stop the danger from happening, then that is successful level 3, okay, prevention. Okay, if you predict the wrong thing, okay, you can have 1,000 predictions, but if you predict the wrong thing, and then as a result of your wrong prediction, the accident still happened, then although you predicted, but level 3 has not been obtained. Do you understand that? Okay, so the 3 levels form the very basic foundation of this problem 9. Okay, these 3 levels. Okay, so when you try to reach all the 3 levels of situation awareness, there will always be enemies, things that will stop you from getting there. Okay, the next 2 pages are all these enemies. Okay, at the end of your revision, you must know the meaning, okay, by your own words, your own feel of what it is, okay, and at least name a few of them. Okay? So the next 2 pages, these 2 pages are the enemies of situation awareness. Okay, so that's it for P9. Okay, P10, communications. Okay, verbal comms. This is the thing that always catch people off guard. When I mention verbal communications, people have the tendency to refer to it as speaking or the oral type of communication. Okay, in our context, P10 verbal comms, okay, encompasses spoken, written, and electronic. So which means if I write you a letter on a piece of paper and I throw it at you right now, okay, that is communication between me and you. Okay, so WhatsApp, okay, social media, stuff like that. Okay, if you write anything via electronic means, okay, that is also a form of verbal comms under this chapter. Okay, so do remember that spoken, written, electronic means. All right. Okay, so why do we learn communications? Because when you work in the aviation industry, there's always communication between teams, if not individuals, okay, teams as well. So the bullets in blue are some of the tasks that normally what happens when teams communicate. Normally it's between the morning shift, the late shift, between the weekday staff, the weekend staff, okay? So the blue bullets are some of the points that is communicated between teams when handing over occurs. Okay, so 11, how you are feeling, how are you feeling? That's the temperature, vibration, and noise chapter. Okay, under the bullet, under the temperature, okay, portion of this 6P, okay, you will see this chart. This is one of the most important chart in there, okay, because it talks about the optimum cognitive performance. Cognitive performance means the ability for you to think, make decisions, and solve problems. Okay, why do we set the temperature between 18 to 27 degrees in classrooms in the lecture theatre? Because technically that's the best way, the only way you think well. Okay, so you won't, when you're having your exam in the Agora Hall, you won't get temperatures that is below 10 degrees Celsius or above 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, otherwise you will blame us if you cannot think. Okay, so do know that your cognitive performance, your thinking abilities are best at 18 to 27 degrees Celsius. Anything above or below that, you will be affected. Alright, so this is what the chart is talking about. Okay, and under the heat unuses, okay, there is 3 of them that it's best if you can remember some of the heat unuses and how you will, the actions you will take to prevent these heat unuses from happening. Okay, on the noise portion of it, okay, sense of hearing affected by noise. Okay, if you have noise, what's going to happen? You will normally have uncomfortable ear pain and noise-induced deafness. Okay, some of the symptoms. Okay, what does it affect? You know, speech interference. If you're trying to talk to somebody or give somebody instructions when you got noise, you normally interfere. It's a form of distraction. Blah blah blah. Okay, some psychological, physiological problems as well. Okay, so do go through these effects of noise. Remember some of them. Okay, P12. Some of you are going through P12 this week. Okay, performance levels. Okay, under P12, there is 3 types of performance level: skill-based, rule-based, and knowledge-based. Okay, I don't know how well your lecturers decipher this information to you, but what I will say is skill-based performance is, if you have the 3 levels, right, this will be at the lowest level. It's like training a technician on how to tighten nuts and bolts and doing wire locking. Okay, you will send him for training, and then you will tell him, These are your basic skill set that you need to know. Okay, you need to tighten screws, you need to tighten bolts, you need to do wire locking, and that's it. Okay, you send him to a workshop, and that is his skill-based level of learning. He don't have to know any other thing except tighten bolts and cut wires. Okay, that is low level. So when you up one level, it goes to rule-based performance. What's it all about? Okay, rule-based performance, if you have seen flow charts, like some troubleshooting flow charts. Okay, if you have engine oil leak, step 1, do you see puddle of oil coming out? Yes, okay, then you do this action. No, you do some other action. Then comes to no. Then if you go to this component, is this component showing signs of leak? Yes, no. That kind of flow chart, okay, is a rule-based kind of performance decision making. Okay, what happens is the situation is already known. So, okay, something like an oil leak in an aircraft engine, okay, it has happened many times, so people have already documented it and then come up with some sets of rules. Okay, if you see this, do this. If you see that, do that. Okay, ultimately, that set of rules is going to bring you to the solution. But in between, you have to make some very minor decision making. Yes and no kind of decision making. Okay, that is applying a solution to a well-known situation. Situations that has previously happened before. So that is rule-based knowledge. Okay, the last one is the highest level one. Okay, the knowledge-based performance. What is this all about? The problem has not happened before. Okay, if you are a licensed aircraft engineer and we send you out there to work, and this new problem that has occurred to an engine that has never ever happened before, and nobody knows how to solve it, then you have to base on your knowledge of the engine. What? On your experience, on your skill sets, okay? On whatever you can grab your hands on, okay? And then you come out with a brand new solution based on your knowledge. That is knowledge-based performance. Okay, it's usually happening on a system whereby the fault has happened, but it has not been documented before. Okay, you are the first pioneer to go out there and solve this problem. That is knowledge-based performance. Alright, so know the difference between these three performance levels. Okay, the next chart is one of the most important chart in this problem. It actually defines the differences between an error and a violation. Okay, so an error is unintentional. Violation means you know that something is wrong and you still go and do it. Okay, like no smoking in the school campus, and then you still purposely want to try to smoke in the canteen. You try to be a hero, see whether you can get caught or not. That is a violation. Okay, when you get caught, you cannot say there is an error. You don't know. Okay, so and inside the error, which is the unintentional action, there is actually another 3 subcomponents that we can classify error. Okay, under the 3 blue bullets, the slip, the lapse, and the mistake. Okay, so those are errors. Okay, they are the subset of the error itself. Unintentional, of course. So a slip is an incorrect action following a correct plan. So which means you already have a plan, your supervisor has a plan for you to go out and fix something, but you decided by yourself to choose to use an alternate way of doing the thing. Okay? If that results in an accident or incident, then that's a slip. Okay? Okay, if we look at a lapse, okay, if you have a correct plan, let's say for example a checklist, step 1 to 10, you're supposed to perform these checks in order to complete the aircraft. Okay, and then you do step 1, 2, you forgot 3 and 4, you went to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you sign off the job. You've forgotten about it. Okay, that is a lapse. Okay, a mistake is a failure in the plan of action. So which means you do not have the right plan to begin with. Okay, it's not that you don't want to, maybe because of your experience level or your knowledge level, you actually pick the wrong plan to follow, and then an accident or incident happened, then that is a mistake. Okay, so know the difference amongst all the terms in this page. Okay, the Swiss cheese model. Hopefully, at the end of that chapter, you will be able to explain what the Swiss cheese is about. Okay, cheese. Slices, holes, hole alignments are some of the components within the Swiss cheese. Every event itself, okay, is a defense barrier or a slice of cheese. So if you have more slices, okay, harder for the holes to align, okay, but if the holes align, which means an accident will happen. Okay, I asked my class this: is it possible to have a slice of cheese with no holes? Okay, what is a slice of cheese? A slice of cheese is an event. Okay, let's say for example, you take from the time that you wake up this morning until the time you get to school. Okay, everything that you undertake this morning, from you tie your shoelace, okay, to walking down to the bus stop, that is a slice of cheese, an event, okay, ongoing. Up to you board the bus, okay, alight from the bus, okay, every event, every happening is a slice of cheese. Can a slice of cheese be holeless? No holes. Can it be? Yeah, I would say that it's very difficult. Okay, from the way you tie your shoelace, you could tie the wrong knot and then end up you trip and fall. Okay, till you get up onto the bus, you might slip and fall. Okay, the bus might break down, especially the MRT these days, full of holes. Okay, yeah, full of holes. Anytime, every day also can get delayed. Okay, correct or not? Okay, so yeah, so I would say that the holes are the chances, okay, where a failure can happen. Okay, but normally you get to school safely every day. Okay, that is because the slices or the events are floating around. Okay, chances of everything happening all at the same time, you tie your shoelace wrongly, you trip and fall down the stairs, okay, the bus break down, followed by you alight from the bus, you board the MRT break down. Okay, chances of that happening, okay, to prevent you from getting to class on time, the possibilities is not that common, I hope. Okay? Okay, it will take all the events, all the holes to line up correctly to create that perfect situation for you to be late for class, I hope. Okay? Chances are usually at the first slice, you snooze your alarm, that is where the main thing or the main accident happened, right? Okay. Okay, so at this point in time, do you all understand the components of the Swiss cheese model? It's a model, okay? Slices, holes, and alignment. Okay, okay? So, okay, understand this cheese well. And then, okay, in this chapter, there is always the active failures versus the latent failures. What I always tell my students is active failures are failures that's in your face, direct, okay? You know what happens, okay? You kick the ball hits the window cracks, okay? You caused the accident, you caused it. That's active failure. Latent failures are the rules or the causes that's hidden behind the scene. Okay? For example, the Tenerife incident, one of the latent failures is the Dutch rule, okay, that 12 hours rules that prevents the shift from going beyond 12 hours. That's why they're trying to rush, okay, to try to beat the clock, creating unnecessary pressure. So that is a form of hidden failure, okay, not so direct. The direct ones are caused by the humans, okay, you know it's due to your actions, the wrong actions that causes something. Okay, so the difference between these two is important. Okay, last chapter. I think we all haven't done this before, but okay, well, I'm ahead of time then. This chapter is on ventilations and contaminants. Okay, so ventilation system, okay, how you get your air so that you will not suffocate yourself to death, stuff like that. The types of ventilation, okay, there is the forced type versus the local type. Okay, what is the difference between the two? Forced type of ventilation, right, means supply. Okay, you try to push some air through. One example is your classroom. If we cut off the ventilation system, okay, it will be pretty uncomfortable. So that's why we have the aircon air coming in, okay, to supply you with the air you need to breathe. The local ventilation type, okay, is something like a welding booth or soldering. No, soldering normally they don't. It's like a suction vacuum cleaner. Just like when you are cooking at home, if you have a kitchen hood or hob that is on, okay, that one is like a suction kind of thing to abstract away the fumes. Okay, that is a form of local exhaust ventilation. Okay, localized. Okay, one small work area only. Okay, so then we will know some factors that affects the selection of the ventilation type. The 3 blue bullet points below. Okay, what type of contaminants, how big or small your space is, and what kind of work is expected in that area. This is why you need your calculator. There's a bit of thermal fluids. Yeah, there's a bit of Miss Young element inside here. Okay, when we talk about ventilation, so there will be flow. When there's flow, there's flow rate. Okay, so we will need to know how to calculate a bit of a volume flow rate. Okay, that's the Q over there. Using the velocity of the air going through that area times the cross-sectional area. Okay, that's volume flow rate. Okay, mass flow rate is basically volume flow rate times a density of what is inside. Okay, if it's nitrogen, then it's the density of nitrogen. If it's air, it's the density of air. If you are using fluids, then it's the density of that fluids. Okay, that's it. A pictorial demonstration of what it's about. Imagine that duct is a square duct. Okay, you chop it open. That is the cross-sectional area, the face. Okay, cross-sectional area. Okay, then the velocity of your air going through. If you want more air, of course you need to increase the velocity. You need to increase the velocity, then your volume flow rate increases. Simple as that, huh? Okay, so that's the end. You're free to go if you do not have any questions. Okay, thank you very much.